It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, it's showtime, the Geno Jones Show. How we doing today? It's a Wednesday. I like to call Wednesdays Working Divas Wednesday, and we're going to call it soon Get Well, Stay Well, or Get Well, Stay Well, or Stay Well, Get Well Wednesday. I'll have some more details to give you about that coming up real soon. But today, March 29th. So we got 2 more days, and then it'll be April 1st. Now, so March is Women's History Month. So today's monologue is just going to be more like a message. It'll be a monologue, but it'll be more like a message. So today, and like I said, March, we recognize women's history. But I got an idea. What do you think? This is a novel idea. Why don't we celebrate and support and nurture and protect, love and encourage, empower, and just, just do the right thing. Treat any woman like you would want your daughter, your granddaughter, your niece, your mom, your grandmother, your spouse to be treated. And a special shout out to black women, because like Malcolm X said, the most disrespected, unprotected, neglected person in America is a black woman. Now I understand that we live in a society, we live on a planet where you've had patriarchy, which is basically just domination, and really like white male patriarchy, because for the most part, the history of the planet, especially if you focus on Europe, and even in the Americas, they have been ruled or governed primarily by wealthy white men. It's really no different now. Here in America, you can look all around the world. So even in countries in South America like Brazil, where the majority of people in Brazil are either black or have African descent. As a matter of fact, in case you didn't know, the largest number of Africans who were part of the transatlantic slave trade, the largest group, weren't dropped off here in America. They dropped off many, and they dropped off a lot in the Caribbean, but the largest number were dropped off in what we know as Brazil. So misogyny and sexism and patriarchy is global, and I get that it's ingrained in our culture, and a lot of times we as men, we don't even see patriarchy when we are even unintentionally engaging in patriarchy or sexism. It's just, what helped me, full confession, what helped me was my mother, and I've shared my story many times. My mother is a domestic abuse and sexual abuse survivor, and when I was 4 years old, she was pregnant with my baby sister, who's 5 years younger than me. And at the time, this is the person who was the father of my baby sister, was beating my mother. We lived in Chicago on the south side, a 2-flat apartment. It was one big building. Some parts of the country, they may call them brownstones. And it's like Chicago, we call them 2 flats. And we lived on the 2nd floor. And had a back porch, an enclosed back porch. And I remember going out there, I guess I heard some noise, and I heard like people fighting, and I saw this man beating up my mother. And I tried to beat his ass. I tried to fight this man. I fought him to the best of my ability. I'm 4 years old, and I'm probably coming up to his waist, but I can clearly, distinctly see, like I'm looking into this camera right now, where I attacked this man that was attacking my mother and literally tried to knock him down like I was tackling a running back. So I share that story again because Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I know is October, but it's something that we need to be aware of. And, violence domestic violence comes in many forms. A lot of times we will focus on the physical form, which I witnessed, but it also comes in the form of verbal abuse and mental abuse and emotional abuse in many forms. And a lot of times, men will use the power they may have in terms of when it comes to economics. They may be the one that's making more money, and they'll use that as leverage to try to control and manipulate the women or a woman. And I always think about, wow, how would you feel to those men that engage in that? How would you feel if you got to sit back and just watch and listen and see? That type of misogynistic, sexist, abusive, physically, verbally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually abusive behavior acted out on your daughter, your granddaughter, your niece, your mother, your grandmother, your sister. It's amazing how somehow, so many men can't compartmentalize that. Can't. And I have to thank my mother, because she made sure that I didn't grow up. She would always say, Jeannie, I never want any other woman. I don't want anyone else's daughter to go through the abuse, the horror, and everything that I went through, especially because of you. So I'm going to make sure that my son never grows up to be that person. And I've shared that story with so many women. Listen, you may not be able to teach your son how to be a man, but you can do something that's equally important and maybe even more important in many ways and at many times. You can teach him how to be a better man, because you can teach him from the perspective of a woman, and you can share that perspective, and you can open his eyes and allow him to see the world not just through the lens of male patriarchy and just, a male-centered society and planet. You can open his eyes and give him a different perspective. You can teach him compassion and humanity and empathy and a sense of decency and a sense of respect and responsibility and accountability. And look, I'm not perfect. It took me long. I'm still a work in progress. Trust me, Damaris will tell you. But I thank God for my mother and my daughters and Damaris. Women that have really, and I've said this many times, they have made me a better man. They saved me from myself many times, trust me. Recently, very recently, saved me from myself. So tomorrow, we got 2 more days. So Friday will be the end of Women's History Month. I say let's celebrate women in not just their history, but their present and their future. Let's celebrate them. Let's love them, not the way we want to love them, which is something that took me a long time to learn. I'm pretty good, but I'm still working on it. Trust me. I'm sure somebody would say, yeah, but he's still working on it. He's still a work in progress. Had to learn to love the women because I'm not just talking about romantic love, but the love of a father for a daughter or a granddaughter, or the love that a brother has for his sister or a niece. I had to learn to love, not the way that I wanted to do it, but the way that they needed it. And it's a big difference, fellas. Trust me, it is a huge difference from loving somebody the way you want to do it, the way you feel they want to be loved and need to be loved. It's a big difference from that and loving them, listening to them, hear them, and listening, and then acting on what you heard, learned and listened and learned to love them the way that they want to be loved and need to be loved. That's a huge difference. So that's my challenge to all of mankind, all of the male species, all of us. My challenge, including the challenge to myself, is to be. I think that will be one of the greatest gifts that we could give to women, not just for Women's History Month. How about every day? Not just Valentine's Day, not just a birthday, not just a special occasion, but every day. Because consistency is something that's very important. Being reliable and dependable, knowing that they can always depend on you to be there, regardless of what the situation is. That they can pick up the phone in the middle of the night and you will always answer that other end. And you will be there to assist and do anything you can to make their lives better. Fellas, that's the least we can do. I mean, really. If we can't do that, then who are we? Who are we? And what is our purpose? Because your purpose is not about, your purpose is not centered and focused on you. Your purpose is how you can enhance and make other people's lives better. So on that note, before I sign off, I want to give a big shout out to the team, staff here locally, the Shawn Jenkins Children's Hospital for the Medical University of South Carolina. And I want to thank Mimi. She is one of the leaders. I don't know her title, but she's really in charge along with some other people. And shout out to Jim. And they do these radiothons. As a matter of fact, I told you about that all last week. Last Thursday and Friday, I had the honor to be a part of a radiothon to raise money. Actually, our radio station, the people of this community, the very generous, caring, giving, big-hearted community here in Charleston, South Carolina, helped us, my radio station, our group, set a record for raising money. But I got a visit from Mimi with the Children's Miracle Network today, and she shared a text message with me. So we got a chance to have a conversation with many of the children and their parents who were patients, who had been patients, who are still patients. Maybe they're outpatients, they have to come back, a couple times a year, sometimes several times a year for treatment or whatever. And I got a chance to have a conversation with a young kid. He couldn't have been, I think he was, I don't even know, was he 14? No, maybe 11. Young man in elementary school. He wasn't in high school. His name was Vincent. His mom's name is Jackie. And Jackie sent a text message to one of my employees at work, our promotion director. And actually, so Mimi, who's with the Children's Miracle Network, came to the radio station, dropped off some food, just wanted to say thank the company and the radio group for the support. And my promotion director and Mimi came in the studio, and Mimi said, I wanted to share something with you. And she said, I'm going to be honest with you, that when I read this text, it brought me to tears. I was crying when I read it. So I'm just going to paraphrase it. And Jackie couldn't remember my name, but she was like, the announcer the last announcer that we talked to, my son and I talked to, he really encouraged my son, because she said her son has a condition, and I'm not going to go into, I'm not going to go into what his condition is, but sometimes it affects his self-esteem. But he's a very talented athlete, and he was sharing a story with me about he had been selected to be on a team representing the United States of America to go over to Spain this week and play soccer. So apparently, Vincent left today, and his mom, I get it. His mom she was in her feelings missing her baby. But she wanted to share with, she shared it with Mimi with the Children's Miracle Network. She's like, the conversation that Vincent had with the announcer, she said it really lifted his spirits. It gave him confidence. He was really excited. It seemed like he really believed in Vincent, and it really made a difference in his life and his attitude, and it gave him this confidence to go over there and to do well, because I believe that this young man would do well. And I just say, listen, I know you're going to do great, and I expect to see you. I did the math. I said, okay, so we just had the World Cup last summer in 22. So I think he is, I think it's closer to 11. Because I said, okay, like in 10 years, because I know they go every 4 years, so maybe in 12 years, I expect to see you as one of the stars, if not the star, of Team USA in the World Cup. And not to mention the Olympics. And he had a big smile on his face. And I meant that. Because he had a beautiful spirit. His energy just radiated. It just gratitude and joy and happy, and was excited about sports. And I saw a look in his mom. I saw a look in Jackie's eye. And I told Jackie, I said, I know that look, Jackie, because that's the look that my mother gave and still gives me. You could just see the unconditional, unadulterated pride and joy and love that a mother has for her son, and vice versa. The love and just the gratitude and everything that goes along with a son, a mother and a son. That's a very special relationship, like a father and daughter in many cases. I know not in all cases. But I knew that look, and I said, Jackie, I know that look because my mother still gives me that look today. And so we talked about it, and I was glad that it brought a smile to her face. Because the young man has dealt with a lot in his young life. He's overcome a lot, and doctors didn't expect him to be able to do they weren't even certain if he would even make it to this age, the age he's at now. And they didn't expect that he would be able to play sports and be an athlete. But God had another plan. And it was just, we bonded and connected. I saw a young man who loved sports, who had a mother who loved her son and believed in him, probably even believed in him more than he believed in himself. And my spirit connected with that because that's the story of my life. And so Mimi she read this text, and I had to look away, and I had to wipe back and fight tears. I had to wipe my eyes. So I was so touched. So to Jackie, you have no idea how much you made my day today. You have no idea how much I needed that. I had no idea that I had that kind of impact on your son. I had no idea. You never know who you touch and how you touch someone's life. And that was a lesson that I learned today. And she didn't know how much just sharing that with me and sharing that story with a coworker or someone that I got a chance to work with, and she shared it with me, how much that meant to me, especially today. So, Jackie, I want to thank you. And Vincent, I just thank you for being you, young man. I know you're going to do great. Go over there and score as many goals as you can. And when you get back, I'd love for us to sit down, have lunch, and you can tell me all about the experience over there in Spain and how you dominated them dudes over there, and show them how we do this thing over here in the USA. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you. And God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Must-see TV. Just think of the Tonight Show with a smarter, funnier, better-looking host. Produced by Malcolm X, if he was still alive. That's the vibe. That's just, and I have to be honest, I'm not going to lie to you. My grandmother said, Jeannie, tell the truth and shame the devil. So, I want to thank everybody for watching. A shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. He is the CEO of Designer Cuts here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro, Goose Creek, South Carolina, to be exact. Check him out on Instagram, Kel be cutting up, KELBECUTTINUP, because Kel be cutting up. Allie Jones is the drip director. She's the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check her out on Instagram as I pop my collar, LX.NCL underscore is that little dash. So that's LX.NCL underscore. And Bruce Gage, he's also a wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out on Instagram. Miglio di Mario Uomo. That's an Italian name, so it's Migliodi. Mario D is D-I. I guess the I has an E sound in Latin, if you speak Italian. So it's Migliodimario. That's how we spell it in America, Mario. Uomo is U-O-M-O. Shout out to everybody watching me today. Oh, we got somebody. Hey, Randall Reed. How we doing, my friend? Someone new to the Geno Jones Show, new to the Geno Jones Show chat room. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for posting. I'm just taking a look at it there. Here we go. Somebody said, we're going to get you to run for local office. No. As a matter of fact, next week here in Charleston, South Carolina, we're going to have, he's still the police chief of the city of North Charleston. About a week or so ago, he announced that he's going to be retiring on May 1st. He is going to run to be the next mayor here in North Charleston, South Carolina. Dear friend of mine, full disclosure, you've seen him on the show many times, so I'm not going to lie or front, because that's not what I do. Police Chief Reggie Burgess is going to come on the show, and he's just going to tell you why he wants to run for mayor and what his purpose is and what is his assignment if he becomes the mayor of North Charleston. And I want to shout out to everybody in Chicago. I sent an email to Brandon Johnson, who is running to be the next mayor in Chicago. So if anybody is plugged in with Mayor Brandon Johnson, I emailed his team, or just reach out to me here on my YouTube channel, or Geno Jones Show at Gmail, on Instagram, Geno Jones on Twitter, Geno Jones Show on TikTok, Geno Jones on Facebook. So you can DM me, leave me a message. Brandon Johnson, I would love to have you to come on. There's a lot going on in Chicago. That's where I was born and raised. My mother's there. My sisters are there. My daughter, my youngest daughter, is going to school there where I went to school. So Chicago is still my passion for the people and that city, Chicago, like my passion for the people and the city here in Charleston is unparalleled, is intense. So if you know Brandon Johnson, have him contact me, Geno Jones Show at Gmail or on Instagram or whatever, because I'd love to have you on the show to talk about your run. And even Mr. Vallis, if Mr. Paul Vallis, that's his opponent, if you want to come on the show, you're welcome too. We can have a conversation about some of the things you said in the past, but I digress. And shout out to my man Groove Master Dre, and to my #1 fan, my executive producer, my publicist, and my director of PR. That's my mother, Mary Dixon. I love you, Mother, more than life itself, but you know that. So, the next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be on Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. My guest, super producer, hit maker, Sean Dobie. He is killing the Southern Soul and R&B game. He is producing hit after hit after hit. He produced my buddy Marcus Allen's hit song called Slide, and he's producing so many folks, so we're going to talk about that. As a matter of fact, he's got a new artist with a new video that we're going to debut right here on the Geno Jones Show tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I love each and every one of you. I really do. God bless you. And as always, pray for peace. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Vincent.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.